As the money flowed to the foundation from Sweden, Mrs. Clinton's team in Washington declined to blacklist any Swedish firms, despite warnings from career officials at the U.S. Embassy in Stockholm that Sweden was growing its economic ties with Iran and potentially undercutting Western efforts to end Tehran's rogue nuclear program. Diplomatic cables show. Sweden does not support implementing tighter financial sanctions on Iran and believes more stringent financial standards could hurt Swedish exports. One such cable from 2009 alerted Mrs. Clinton's office in Washington. Separately, U.S. intelligence was reporting that Sweden's second largest employer, telecommunications giant Ericsson AB, was pitching cell phone tracking technology to Iran that could be used by the country's security services, officials told the Washington Times. By the time Mrs. Clinton left office in 2013, the Clinton Foundation, the front group set up the arm in Sweden, had collected millions of dollars inside Sweden for Bill Clinton's global charitable efforts, and Mr. Clinton personally pocketed a record $750,000, a speech fee from Ericsson, one of the firms at the center of the sanctions debate. Mr. Clinton's Swedish fundraising shell escaped public notice, both because its incorporation papers were filed in Stockholm, some 42,000 miles away from America's shores, and the identities of its donors were lumped by Mr. Clinton's team into the disclosure reports of his U.S.-based charity, blurring the lines between what were two separate organizations incorporated under two different countries' laws. Ladies and gentlemen, how do these two people escape long prison sentences? How can it possibly be that Denny Hastert, former Speaker of the House, Republican, can be facing prosecution, facing years in federal prison for structuring his own money, not to sell drugs, not to do anything unlawful, because he was being blackmailed? How can it possibly be that he's indicted? How can it possibly be that the former governor of Virginia, Bob McDonnell, who gave no favors, how can it possibly be that he's facing a long prison term, but the Clintons aren't even facing a criminal investigation? How can it possibly be that a federal grand jury is not paneled to investigate the Clinton Library, the Clinton Foundation, their front groups, their bank accounts, and everything else? You talk about structuring. This is structuring. We now know why Mrs. Clinton had that server in her house. We now know why there are 30,000 emails missing. Because they're corrupt. Because they were raking in money hand over fist. Because, dare I say, they were selling public favors for private gain. This is quintessential money laundering, in my humble opinion. Quintessential embezzlement, in my humble opinion. Quintessential criminality. And they dare to talk about inequality. They dare to talk about the little guy. They dare to attack the rich who've actually earned their money the old-fashioned way. These two who haven't produced a damn thing, worth $150 million. This is the breaking story. The Clintons set up this Swedish front group, collected $26 million in donations, while entities in Sweden were lobbying to make sure that the sanctions that applied to the rest of the world when it came to Iran would not apply to them. And according to this report, Mrs. Clinton didn't lift a finger to stop them. She didn't lift a finger. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to know why Barack Obama is in bed with the Islamo-Nazis in Tehran? Oh, I'm sure it's ideological, among other things. But the Democrat Party and the Democrat Party leadership and its former leadership, they've become filthy rich, selling out the United States of America. They've become filthy rich, selling out our allies in the Middle East. from Israel and Egypt, and yes, even Saudi Arabia. They have become filthy rich, selling the United States of America down the river. That's the headline, that's the marquee, that's the neon sign as far as I'm concerned. The foundation declined to respond to repeated requests to identify the names of the specific donors that passed through this Swedish front operation. The spokesman for Mrs. Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign offered no comment or explanation despite 2 weeks of requests from the Washington Times. And when Mrs. Clinton became President Obama's Secretary of State in 2009, she vowed to set up a transparent review system that would ensure any of her husband's fundraising or lucrative speaking activities were reviewed for possible ties to foreign countries doing business with her agency, insisting she wanted to eliminate even the appearance of conflict of interests. But there's growing evidence the Clintons did not run certain financial activities involving foreign entities by the State Department, such as the Swedish fundraising arm and the Clinton Gustra Sustainable Growth Initiative based in Canada, or disclose on her annual ethics forum the existence of a limited liability corporation that Mr. Clinton set up for his personal consulting work. The Democrat Party is corrupt. This administration is corrupt. The previous Democrat administration is corrupt. The Clintons are corrupt. The whole damn bunch of them are corrupt. What are we going to do about it, America? What are you going to do about it, Democrats? You're going to circle the wagons? Are you so far gone the cult of personality is all that matters? Is that where we are today in the United States of America? We have two individuals, the Clintons, who've made tens of millions of dollars selling positions, trying to hide bulks of it. Over at Breitbart.com, Peter Schweizer, his book Clinton Cash, over and over again they've tried to warn us. They've tried to warn us what a crook these Clintons are, and they're crooks through and through. Now, let's talk about the cover-up. The cover-up by the Department of Injustice. The cover-up by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. The cover-up by the Public Integrity Section Unit within the Criminal Division of the Justice Department. Oh, yes, I know you boys and girls are there. I used to work there. Nobody has spoken out. Nobody's lifted a finger. Not one of them. And you know why? That comes from the top. That comes from Barack Obama. Barack Obama is assisting in this cover-up. Let us not forget, this is his administration. Let us not forget, Hillary Clinton was his Secretary of State. Let us not forget that Department of Justice reports to him. Let us not forget that they have populated this bureaucracy with one radical leftist after another. Let us not forget any of it. The Attorney General of the United States, Loretta Lynch, busy chasing down movie theaters, busy chasing down an old man, a former Speaker of the House, with this phony structuring stuff, busy chasing down the former governor of Virginia with phony quid pro quo arguments. Where is this Loretta Lynch that Lindsey Graham voted for? Where is this Loretta Lynch that Mitch McConnell made sure would get through the United States Senate and got a wet kiss from the President of the United States? What's happening to this country? Where is law enforcement? Where are the prosecutors? Where are the people who are supposed to protect us from this kind of criminality? Can you imagine if this woman becomes President of the United States? She'd be the first woman. She'd be the first woman president? Well, she should be the first First Lady to serve a very long federal prison term.